Hello and welcome to Fulham Fan News. It's been another busy week of transfer rumours, kit releases, and football returning for the new season. And we are back to dissect it all. Tonight I'm joined by Joe.
Yeah, good to be here again.
Lovely to have you on. Tom can't make it tonight, unfortunately, but we are here in his spirit and hopefully ready to raise your spirits with some transfer rumours. But before we start on that, I think we should all take a moment to reflect on the away kit, which was released earlier the week slash last week. Very fitting to be themed with Barbie hitting the cinemas and taking the world by storm. Joe, what are your opinions on our bold pink away kit?
Yeah, we missed such a trick not announcing it on the day as Barbie, but I'm sure that the media team would have thought of that and there was something that went wrong. But in terms of the kit itself, I actually love it. I wasn't such a fan when we announced it and it was like the pink shirt with the black shorts. But then I saw someone post a photo from the club shop about how it's not only pink shirt, but pink shorts and pink socks as well. And the recent photos that they've released of it in the last few days, and with the kind of media behind the scenes video they released, I think it's a beautiful little kit. I'll definitely be getting my hands on it. And I kind of thought to myself, I'm personally a huge fan of the home kit, and I thought they've given us a nice home kit. Last season we wore our away kit like a grand total of 3 times all season, so they can do what they want with it. But I'm happy with it. I'll definitely be buying it, showing up in festivals in my pink Fulham shirt.
Yeah, definitely. It's certainly one that I'll be buying as well. Hopefully. I mean, I need to try and get my hands on the home shirt this season as well, because that has definitely grown on me since its release. So
100 quid each, though, isn't it?
yeah, at the moment, wait until they're in the sales. But I think the best tweet I saw about the kits was Barbie versus Oppenheimer, with
Yeah,
the two kits, which was the best thing I've seen. So yeah, I think it's very bold. I think we'll stand out, and I'm hoping we wear it more than 3 times because it is a very clean kit. Of course, we are expecting a third kit to be released at some point, but we're not sure when. I think that will be released at some point in the near future. Um, so yeah, that was all good news. Next up, I think the main theme of the transfer window so far has been Mitrovic and Willian and various other important assets of our club being nicked by the Saudis. I think obviously these are slowly but surely being put to bed as of late. Mitrovic is no longer, or he's rejoined training, and he was on the bench against Hoffenheim and even came on and made a cameo, which is positive signs. What are your thoughts about him continuing and staying with us after allegedly saying he's never playing for Fulham again?
yeah. I was in the Hamian for the Hoffenheim game, and he did get a good reception. It was everyone kind of. It was when he came to warm up on the side, and everyone saw him. He got a good cheer. But I'm more than happy that he's back. He looked so sharp when he came on as well. You wouldn't be able to tell that he not really been partaking with the team and hadn't done much of pre-season. He was playing some lovely football with like Bobby Reed and Harry Wilson. You can tell that they've had experience playing together, and it's so key, especially scenes as it we haven't, and it doesn't look like we're going to be bringing in another striker. Of course, we do have Jimenez. Do I think Jimenez is good enough to head the team for an entire season? No, not really. Do I think Vinicius is good enough? Maybe I'd hope so, but I do love that man, but
He is a
probably
cult
not.
hero.
Yeah, he is exactly. So having Mitrovic back is so good. I mean, he is. We do play our football revolved around him, and although we kind of over the past weeks have been like, oh, we'll be all right without him, kind of forget about him. I remember I tweeted saying he was a glorified Ross McCormack at one point, but nah. Well, I'm sure we're all very happy to have him back. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, just as you said, I'm glad he's back with the team. I'm glad that he's being a professional and focusing on his football amid all the concerns and rumors this transfer window so far. And I hope, avoiding injuries, he can still be a big player for us this season. Of course, Jimenez did show his quality on against Hoffenheim, scoring on his debut, which was excellent to see. We'll touch on that a bit more in a minute, but yeah, it's a massive boost. And I'm glad and grateful to see him back with the team, especially after all the rumors and strong links and everything just all going off and everything and the many meltdowns. But Another player in the thick of it all, of course, is Willian as well. He was offered a huge, ridiculous sum of money to go and join Al Kabab or one of those random teams in Saudi, which he has apparently allegedly rejected. But even if he hadn't rejected it, I would still expect he would have stayed nonetheless. Um, I'm sure you're just as glad as I am to still see him in Fulham colours.
Yeah, I mean, I was so shocked when I went on my phone after being so stressed out with the Nottingham Forest stuff. I remember checking my phone and seeing Fabrizio had posted a photo of him. I was like, oh, not again. But yeah, I was always silently confident with that one that he was going to stay. I think it would be taking the piss a little bit if he had gone. I think, like you say, there's no way we would have let him leave after signing a contract just 11 days before. I mean, we would have been the laughing stock of the market. It wouldn't have been a good sign. It shows that we don't really have any sort of backbone. But yeah, very happy that he's staying. Another player who I'm sure will be very, very key for us in the upcoming season.
Absolutely. He certainly showed his class on the weekend against Hoffenheim. We won, of course, 2-1, which was brilliant to see. The many who went to the cottage, such as yourself, were, I'm sure, pleased to see that new signing Calvin Bassey also made his mark with a glorious header. What are your thoughts on that win?
He was. I'll touch on Calvin Bassey as well because his performance was amazing. I mean, I remember it was something like in the first 10 minutes he Cruyff turned one of their attackers. It was beautiful, and I think he tried to do the same thing again a second time, and he just looked so strong on and off the ball. He looked quick, fast. He could get back easily. Diop next to him looked a little bit weak and a little bit shaky at times. And I think Bassey kind of swept things up really nicely. Scoring the goal obviously was great, and it was a blooming powerful header. And that wasn't the only time he looked dangerous from a corner in the match as well. So I think considering how many great set piece takers we have and how good we are usually from corners, I think that he could be in for a fair few goals this season. Maybe stick him in my fantasy team.
Yeah, definitely want to keep an eye on. It was also brilliant to see Tim Ream back on the bench as well. Of course, he was a crucial player for our back line last season, like rolling back the years and really having a rejuvenated season. I think alongside Diop or Bassey, he could also be a massive boost as well. But as you say, Bassey really did show his class. We've got a real player on our hands there. Of course, with the success of Jimenez as well. And I think as a team, we really did performed well. It was really promising signs considering all kind of the negative rumors that have circulated about throughout this transfer window, throughout the summer. And of course, with people predicting us to finish lower, I personally think we'll finish a little bit higher or about the same because I think we're about the same level. And of course, we've got plenty of players who are on the radar on their way in as well. But yeah, all in all, a really good win. And hopefully we can continue onto Everton. Of course, we are still looking to add players in various areas. We've got many transfer targets, but lots of them are getting a bit closer. With Damari Gray, we were also strongly linked from Mr. Fabrizio Romano earlier in the week as well, that Fulham are offering around, I think it's in the region of 10 million for the Everton winger. We've also agreed personal terms with him, and he only wants the move. I think Everton are also looking to offload him from their squad to raise funds for various other transfers because of their financial situation. So again, Damari Gray, a promising player. We've covered him on a previous episode as well of how good he can be and a real boost for the squad. What are your thoughts on him potentially joining our attacking options?
Yeah, Damari Gray's one of the ones that I'm a little bit funny about. I think if we could get him for a super discount price, which we're good at getting, then yeah, great. I don't think he'll be a starter, but considering the lack of squad depth we have and how weak our bench is, it's still just as important. If we're prioritizing players, though, then I would love to prioritize Hudson-Odoi. I think Hudson-Odoi is such a stronger player. Yeah, I think Hudson-Odoi should be the number one priority. I think he's still so young, like 22. And the fact that he was priced at around 70 million just a few years ago shows that how much potential he's still got. It's ridiculous to me that he was, I mean, I say priced at 70 million. They rejected the 70 million offer. So it's ridiculous to me that we're seeming to be bargaining £4 million worth. If it was, I say if it was up to me, as if I would ever have that sort of money, but just pay the 8 million. I mean, he's a fantastic player, proven that in the past. And I think really with Marco Silva's man management, we can get him performing so well.
Yeah, definitely. He's another one on the radar, and we're still in negotiations with Chelsea, of course, for around we've offered around 4.5 million. They want to push it up to 9. But I'm sure, as you say, if we can get it for such a discounted price, it would be such a talent to add, especially as he's only 22. I think, is he 22 or 24? He's still fairly young.
I think Hudson-Odoi, yeah, like 22.
Yeah, he's still fairly young, so he's got a fair few years still left in the tank. And I think because he's only just around the corner, it'd still be a huge boost, not having to move far from his current home. So I think he wants the move as well, which is even better. So I think he's definitely one. I don't think we'll get him ahead of the season starting, but definitely he's one that I think we will sign before deadline day. It'll be one of those one that could go down to the wire, because Tony Khan loves a discounted deadline day deal. Leicester City right back Timothy Castagna. We've been linked with him recently, and apparently, as of late, we've agreed personal terms for around, and we're looking to agree a fee for around 12 million. But of course, there's been various fees kind of scattered around from like up to 19 million, which I think for a backup right back is a bit expensive. But I think in the region of 10 to 12 million could be quite reasonable. What do you think?
Yeah, so I think one of the things that I like the most about Castagna is the fact that he can play right back and left back. And I've said on previous episodes that for me, with our huge lack of squad depth, players that can play, players that are jack of all trades, can play multiple positions, are what kind of would be really, really helpful for us. So I'm more than happy. I think he's a good player. I know I spoke to a few Leicester fans and they said that he wasn't so good last season and they'd be happy to offload him for a good sum of money, which isn't so promising considering how weak they were compared to us last season. But if we're looking at him in terms of the fact that he is a backup that can play on both sides, it's a great addition. Price-wise, like you said, lots of figures have been chucked about. I just can't see us really paying that much for a backup fullback, especially with how stingy we are when it comes to money. So I think that could be one. If that is the price that Leicester are quoting at the moment, then I think that will be one that goes down to the wire.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's certainly one that I'd be a fan of as well. As you said, he's versatile. He can play in more than one position. And I think for depth as well, I think he's excellent. He's got a few goals in his tank as well throughout previous seasons, plenty of assists as well. So I think he could be a real boost to our defensive line. And it's certainly one which I think will get done because I think under Silva, he will thrive as well. Because Silva gets the best out of everyone as well. So it's excellent to see. And hopefully the more these transfers get circled around, the higher chance it is that Marco Silva will sign that contract, whether it's at the end of the season, whether it's at the start of this season. We don't know when he's going to sign it, or if he is going to sign it. But I think the more and more these rumors circulate, the closer we get to these players, I think the more promising it is that Marco will sign a long time contract. Do you think he will?
Yeah, I think it's very dependent on not only this transfer window, but also how the season goes. I mean, the thing is, we all love Marco Silva, but who knows what could happen in the season? Like, we all loved Steph Jokanovic. I know it's not really a fair comparison because Marco Silva's already proved himself in the Premier League, but fans can turn that quickly when it comes to managers, and Marco Silva probably knows that as well. I think he will have a great season. I think it's going to be quite competitive. I've seen lots of people in their predictions kind of clumping like 18th to 10th place altogether. And I do think we are going to fall somewhere around, I think the higher end of that spectrum. Mm-hmm. I think we'll fall somewhere around then. But just at the minute, I can't see him signing a long-term contract. Just with how this transfer window's gone, I get it has been difficult. I remember me and Tom touched on this last time that it has been difficult for a lot of sides this window, and lots of sides haven't brought in many players. So I'm sure that Marco's understanding of that. But it's still not what he wanted. I mean, he was complaining about it last season, and last season we brought in so many more players by this point. So I guess we've got to wait till deadline day. I'm still expecting there to be a few shock ones that just come out of absolutely nowhere. I saw that Ziyech is without.
I would take him at Fulham, 100%.
I would love Ziyech.
He was
So
unreal.
good for Morocco always, and he's another set piece specialist. So many players we could still get. We'll see, I guess.
The window's still very wide open, so there's plenty more business that can be done. Just while you're on the topic, where do you realistically predict Fulham to finish next season?
My Fulham prediction is 12th.
12th.
I think, I think it's a drop off from last season, but it's kind of around the same. Because I feel like the whole project now is we need to make sure that we're a stable Premier League side and we're a secure Premier League side. And I think 10th, 12th, and then we can properly show players, look, we're here to stay. We're going to build on this. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we give Marco Silva a long-term contract and we just show proper commitment to, who knows, heading for top 7. I mean, Villa did it. And we beat them in a playoff final not even that long ago. So
yeah, definitely. Very promising signs. I mean, personally, I'd predict Fulham to finish, optimistically, I'd say 9th, but I think 11th is probably a bit more fair, considering it's still around the same sort of bracket, but it's also around the same level. But of course, we don't know what's going to happen throughout the season. There's so many teams with European football to focus on now. Could we go on a cup run again like we did last season? Hopefully a bit more successful. And then the opportunities are endless with this season. But as you say, I think establishing ourselves as a Premier League side is the main goal this season. And then from then onwards, who knows what we can achieve. So yeah, moving on, I think we need to quickly preview the our game against Everton away up in Goodison Park to open the Premier League season on the weekend. Of course, we are without Palhinha at the moment. He's still on his way back from that injury against Chelsea or Villa in the preseason tournament. And Everton, their defender James Tarkowski is also on the way back from a earlier knock as well, which will be a huge boost for them. Everton haven't had the best window so far. They've still more or less got the same players as they had last season. What do you think is going to go down on Saturday?
I think we are beating them. I'm confident. I think even without Palhinha, I think Lukic has been one of our standout players in this preseason. I mean, against Hoffenheim, he was shocking himself everywhere, jumping into tackles. I genuinely think if that man played an entire season consistently in the starting 11, he would get like close to the yellow card record in the Premier League. He absolutely loves a challenge, just like Palhinha. So I'm at the minute not too worried about that. Obviously, when we do have Palhinha, we're such a better side. But I mean, who knows? We could see Palhinha. I doubt Marco Silva would throw him in, though, if he wasn't certain. And I think maybe we would have seen him off the bench on Hoffenheim if we were to see him starting. But what I'm most hoping for to see on the starting lineup is Mitro. I'd really like to see Mitro starting. I'm making the long haul to Liverpool to go and watch the game. So if anyone watching sees me there, say hi, buy me a pint, you know.
It's your claim to fame. Get a picture of Joe from Fulham Fan News. As the Samba Whites beat Everton with Mitrovic really making a statement amid all the Saudi links and saying, yes, I'm staying.
Yeah, he's going to score. He's going to tap the badge and he's going to point to the floor. I will be there for it. I'm ready for it.
If there was a badge of Al Hilal or Al Ali, wherever it is, he'll just ignore it. Yeah. But as you say, I think we will come out on top against Everton. They haven't looked the best so far throughout preseason. And I don't think I think they once again will be in and around the bottom sort of bunch this season as well. Whether they survive relegation or not, like they've done the last 2 seasons, we don't know. But it'll be another interesting test for Fulham as well. So I do see us coming out on top. I think Palhinha will feature on the bench. Whether he gets any minutes, we don't know. But I think it would also be really, really great to see Calvin Bassey starting as well alongside Diop. I'm still not sure if Ream is up to full fitness, but of course Marco's presser is later this week, so we will find out more when that comes out. But I think it should be a successful way to start the season. Of course, our opening of seasons is quite inconsistent. I mean, of course, we drew with Liverpool last season. Season before that in the Championship, we drew with Middlesbrough, and then before that, it's just been loss after loss, hasn't it?
Yeah, something like that. I think it's so key how we start the season. I think if we start the season at full force with pace and with wins and points, then I think we're going to really put ourselves in a good position. Because I do think that this season is going to be a proper trudge between all of these teams at the bottom, and every little point is going to matter. And I think if we start winning from the get go, then that is just going to be so important. And Everton's a
Absolutely.
great team to start against. Pretty easy team, I think, to beat.
Yeah, not the easiest run of fixtures afterwards, of course, but I think it really will be prime Barclays this season. So many teams in and around it, and I think it will be a real every point matters. But do you think we will see something in the sense of one half of the season being better than the other, like we did last season? Because of course, towards the end of last season, we did drop off a little bit. Do you think
Mm-hmm.
it'll be
I
similar?
I think we're going to go through patches. I think we're going to see times where we go on like 3 game, 4 game win streaks like last season, but also see times where we drop off. And I remember it was around around the Mitrovic suspension last season. We
Mm.
dropped off a little bit. I feel like that can be heavily attributed to Mitrovic getting suspended, but we're probably going to have like a suspension worry or an injury worry at some point in the season, and we just have to hope it's not to players like Palhinha or
Yeah.
Mitrovic or Bernd Leno. That was one that I was thinking earlier because I do love Marek, but whenever he's in goal, I just don't feel like fully safe
Mhm.
like I do with when we've got Leno in goal.
Yeah.
Just we've got so many key players that we can't lose, or there will be a clear drop off in our points and our performance. So I think we're gonna have purple patches in the season, but I think we'll be all right.
Yeah, I think it will be a good season. Of course, we haven't really got any sort of like easier runs throughout the season. It's all kind of comes and goes in different waves, which I think is quite important, and it's also quite beneficial as well, I guess, because it means you get a bit of each team, and if you're in good form, and if the other team's in bad form, then you can hit them where it hurts, really. So it'll be an interesting season, and I'm buzzing to see the Premier League back. I'm sure every single football fan has had absolutely nothing to do with their life for the last couple of months, apart from cry over Fulham Saudi links and all sorts of player departures and everything. So yeah, it's another busy week, and I'm sure we're expecting another busier week as football returns and Fulham returns to the pitch. Thank you for joining me, Joe. It's been a pleasure.
It's all right. It's been good to be here.
No worries. I'm sure Tom would also appreciate it if I mentioned that we do have a partnership with FOCO UK. So do click the link in the description if you would like to purchase any of their lovely Fulham merchandise, whether it's for a birthday, anniversary, or just because Fulham beat Everton at the weekend. Um, but
Precisely.
yeah, hopefully. But yeah, thank you all for watching, and we will see you in the next episode.